Hello, welcome to the Mythology Manifest. Today's video is going to be a little bit different to my others, as I am going to be doing a film review on the movie Troy. I hope you enjoy it. For those of you that haven't seen Troy, I will just do a quick plot summary. Troy is the loose movie adaptation of Homer's book, the Iliad, from the 8th century BC. It is the story of the Greek hero Achilles, who has been enlisted in a war with the city of Troy by the king of Mycenae, Agamemnon, and his brother, the king of Sparta, Menelaus. The reason this war is taking place is because Paris, who was a prince of Troy, kidnapped Menelaus' wife, who was the most beautiful woman in the world, and became known as Helen of Troy, who most people have heard of. Now, even if you aren't aware of this film or the Iliad, almost everyone has heard of the Trojan War and the Trojan horse, and in essence, that's what this film is. So, on with the review. I would just like to say that the views I put forward in this video are purely mine. Many of them are from a pure classicist point of view, but I have tried to see it from a non-classics perspective as well. Obviously, you don't have to agree with me, but I do think that many of you will. The film itself is good and well acted, with an excellent cast, but I am first going to focus on what are, in my opinion, the negative aspects of the movie. Now, when I sat down to watch Troy, I, as well as many others who already knew the myth, sat and watched it from a pure classics point of view. I expected the film to be the same as the Iliad and the mythology behind it, but it wasn't. Obviously, the producers and directors do have artistic license, and they did use it well in this film. The biggest thing, however, that this film was lacking for me was the influence of the gods. The gods, especially Aphrodite, Hera, Athena, and Apollo, play major roles in this myth, but in the film, the gods were completely written out. Because of this, they could not focus on a major plot line from the original story. That was the fact that Achilles was a demigod, which means half god, half mortal, and therefore invulnerable to harm, which is why he was such a powerful warrior. We also didn't get to see Achilles' emotional connection with his mother, the goddess Thetis, or the gods in battle, which would have made for excellent viewing, but of course they didn't have time to include everything as the film was already over 3 hours long. But I do think that the gods would have made this already brilliant film even better, but that's just my opinion. The second thing I think this film was lacking is the relationship between Achilles and Patroclus. Now, whether the classicists watching think that Achilles and Patroclus were just incredibly good friends or something more, the film showed neither. In the original myth, Achilles went back into war because of how emotionally angry and torn apart he was at the death of Patroclus. Although they kept that part in Troy, they made them cousins, and they had very little shared screen time, so we didn't understand why Achilles was so distraught over Patroclus' death, as they didn't seem to have a strong established friendship as they did in the myth. Achilles and Patroclus will be a topic in one of my later videos coming up soon, so let me know what you think of them in the comments or on Twitter. I have left a link to it in the description below. Although they didn't get all of the myths, this film had a lot to cover, and they did it incredibly well. I would definitely recommend this movie as something to watch, but not if you're going to watch it as a twin with the myth. They did keep in the important aspects of the story, such as key battles, key deaths, and in the end, the Trojan horse and the sack of Troy. The characterisation of Achilles, Hector, Agamemnon, and many other characters was perfect. We saw both the soft and harder side of all characters. I loved the characters I was meant to love, and disliked the characters I was meant to dislike. The battle scenes were done incredibly, and the cities and ships looked realistic and believable. The acting from a cast including Brad Pitt, Eric Bana, Orlando Bloom, Brian Cox, Rose Byrne, Sean Bean, and Peter O'Toole, as well as many others, was incredible. It really was a stellar cast. They did show us the anger of Achilles, which is mentioned in the opening of the Iliad. They showed us the family man that was Hector, and the ruthless, power-mad Agamemnon, as well as the turmoil of Helen of Troy, Briseis, Hecabe, and Andromache. This film is not just for classics fans or people interested in mythology, but it is for anyone who wants to watch a film with great acting, excellent effects, and brilliant battle scenes, along with a little mythology sprinkled on top. I would really recommend Troy as a film separate to the Iliad, but would also recommend the Iliad as a book, or even Madeline Miller's The Song of Achilles, which is set during the Trojan War and is a book that I will be reviewing on this channel soon. Troy is an excellent movie, and it is understandable why it was nominated for 22 awards and won 4 of them. It does have mixed reviews, but the majority of them are good, and the bad ones are usually from people who expected it to be exactly like the Iliad, or people who dislike the violence. But it is a film set in the middle of a war, so violence is to be expected. I am very glad they didn't leave the movie like they left the book, which was unresolved, and that instead they wrapped it up in a fast-paced, impressive and brilliant ending. They kept in the part about Achilles' heel, which is a very well-known myth, though they did make a couple of changes even to that. But overall, the ending was exactly as I pictured it. Now all that's needed is a sequel to Troy, called Rome, which can be the telling of the sister book to the Iliad, the Aeneid, but told in a Hollywood format. Surprisingly, my favourite character from the film was Achilles. I say this is a surprise because he is my least favourite main character in the original story. In the myth, Achilles was a spoilt, angry, childish warrior who was self-obsessed and narcissistic. In the movie adaptation though, he was a brave and powerful warrior who definitely stole any scene he was in. I guess this just goes to show that artistic license can change your perception of characters and plot lines. We shouldn't always assume things will go one way and be negative towards it if it doesn't go as we expected. We should just accept things for what they are and try to enjoy them, like I did with this movie. If you've seen Troy, please let me know in the comments or on Twitter what you thought of it. Did you like it and take it for what it was? Or would you rather it had been more accurate in terms of the myths? If you haven't seen it, please let me know if you're going to, because I would definitely recommend it. For my next set of videos, I am going to be discussing the Iliad and the myths surrounding the Trojan War. I will start with my next video on the backstory of the war, which is all about the gods. After that, I will discuss the book and war itself, as well as character videos and reviews on books that are based on the Trojan War and other myths, as well as more impact that it has had within popular culture. I hope you enjoyed this video and found my review entertaining. If you did, please like, comment or subscribe. Let's keep classics alive. I will see you next time on the Mythology Manifest.